Let me first welcome all our viewers. It's a fantastic opportunity to interact with you from the comfort of our homes. We can see each other, we can share our thoughts and ideas. So this is the strength of digital technology. Now coming to the topic of today's discussion, I'm going to divide this discussion in two parts. First is that, as we know, we are reeling from the pandemic COVID-19. So what do we learn from this pandemic? Now one may ask a question that, look, pandemic is a horrible contagion, it's a disease. What can we learn from a disease? But let me share some of my thoughts. See, nature is our first teacher. Let us think over it. Nature is our first teacher. When we are born, or any species gives birth to its offspring, the first things that we learn. Look at the calf, for example, of a cow which is just born and it starts moving. Who teaches it that you have to move now? Calf of a bison, calf of a big cat, it starts eating or taking the feed from mother's breasts. Who teaches it? The first teacher is nature itself. Some of the things, are taught by nature. Where, at what stage our mind grows, we still don't know that. At what stage our brain grows in the fetus, a lot of experimental work has shown that. But at what stage in the fetus, the mind starts growing? Even children, when a newborn baby, you take him away or take her away from the mother, he or she starts crying because he knows the connection with his or her mother. Some people say it is through the heartbeat. So there is a natural kind of mind which each one of the species has right at the birth. Right at the birth. No one has taught the infant, the newborn babies or newborn calf, the newborn bird, when it comes out of the egg, how does it know that it has to open the mouth and it has to eat? Because nature has inculcated that basic instinct, that basic education. So our first teacher is nothing but nature. Second teacher is our mother and father, our parents. Third teacher, the gurus, whom I can see on the screen. This is also our profession, to teach and prepare the citizens of this world, of our country, through good education. But we are the third teachers. First is nature, second is parents, we are the third teachers. And fourth teacher is the person's life itself. We learn a lot from our own life. Our life, our experiences also teach us. So nature is the first teacher. And COVID-19, although it's a contagion, it's a disease, I feel we can learn a couple of things from this disease, from this contagion. Let us try, let us discuss what can be learned from this horrible pandemic, which has gripped all of us with fear. 2/3 of the world is under, economy is almost paralyzed. Not just it is under recession or slowdown. It is almost paralyzed, especially for the lockdown period. And economy gives us livelihood. So we have two important challenges. One is life, we protect life because this disease has lethality. It can kill people. So far there is no known therapeutics or known vaccine. It does not exist. So we do not have a medical treatment for this. We do not have the immunity for this. So we are all gripped with the fear, and therefore we are all housebound. Now, what can we learn from this? Let us look at some of the statistics which has emerged in last, let us say, couple of months. And now already we have millions of people. I think today's count was 3.3 million people all over the world which have been affected. In India, I think it is getting close to, or it has crossed 30,000. And USA is the worst hit, more than 1 million. So what do we learn from this disease? Let us look at some of its characteristics. First of all, you would have noticed that the incubation time of neo coronavirus, which is causing COVID-19, is 5 to 14 days, which is very long. And incubation time means that virus might have acted or infected a person, but you do not see any visible symptoms. That means the person is still asymptomatic. It has no symptoms, but it is infected. Now this 5 to 14 days period is very long. See, coronavirus is a family. It's a family of 7 different viruses. And this is the latest neo corona, or SARS-CoV-2 as it is also called scientifically. And the disease is COVID-19 because it originated in 2019. So this virus might be infecting someone, but you do not know. A person is infected, but there is no visible symptom. So the viral load in that person is increasing, but you will not know it. And this is a very dangerous situation because he does not know that he is infected. So he is freely moving around. He is sitting in aeroplanes. He is going to restaurants. He is meeting his friends. He is going and teaching in the college or university. And because of his movement, he is infecting others. So this virus, because of long incubation time, has the capacity to infect a large number of people because the person who is infected is asymptomatic up to 14 days. This is very dangerous. If a virus has low, time for incubation, low incubation time, for example, SARS or MERS, their incubation times are less. Within few days, within 1 or 2 days, or even on the same day, you will come to know that person is infected. If he knows that he is infected, he can isolate himself. So the disease does not spread much. Another factor which is important for a viral disease is lethality or morbidity. Although COVID-19's lethality is not very high, as it appears from the data so far, it is close to 10% of those who are getting infected, while SARS and MERS, their lethality is much higher. But because their incubation time is less, so you immediately know that a person is infected. So you isolate that person and he or she does not infect others. But in this case, you don't know, so the person is infecting others. And even though the lethality is lower than SARS and MERS, but because you have infected large number of other people, the overall death toll will be very high. So this is the problem. Although lethality of COVID-19 is lower than that of SARS and MERS, but because its incubation time is longer and one person can infect many more persons, the total number of people who are infected in a short span of time becomes large, and the person who succumb to this viral load, because there is no vaccine, no therapeutics, well-known therapeutics. Of course, people are trying different kind of drugs and all that, but well-known therapeutics is not there. So this is a very dreadful and frightening disease. So the first thing that we learn, that nature can produce, so far we understand it's produced by nature. Of course, there are also controversies. Some people say it is engineered in the laboratory, but so far we have no evidence for that. So we cannot say it unless we have the evidence, because it belongs to the corona family of viruses. So let us say that it is created by nature. So nature can create, ways to kill humanity. And so far we do not know when it will end, how many actually total number of people will be infected, how many will be dead. It is not yet known. It is still going on. We are in the middle of this disease. So this is the game of nature, and nature produced us. Nature is our honor. We belong to nature. Nature is our master, and nature can kill us anytime it likes, through diseases, through various other ways. So this is one of them. So first thing that we must learn from this pandemic, that nature is the greatest, not the human being. We are not the masters of nature. Nature is our master. Nature can do anything we want. How long we will remain confined to our homes? Because we have to earn our livelihood. We have to go out. Okay. And God forbid, I mean, if it washes through the entire population, then each and everyone is infected, because as such, our body, as of now, does not have the immunity for this virus. So nature is the greatest. Human being must learn that final master of our planet, of our life, of our existence is nature. See, these days, a lot of people say that this is nature's way of healing the earth. Why do they say that? Because look at the atmosphere. It is so clean. I am in Mumbai, and I tell you, I stay in Navi Mumbai, and just outside my house, early morning when children are going to school in large number, lots of cars and vehicles are rushing and there is noise. But these days when I get up in the morning, birds are chirping. Trees have become very green and sky is so blue. And you might be surprised, if you know the Marine Drive of Mumbai, people have even seen dolphins coming there. Mumbai's coasts are so polluted with so much of filthy water because the population density is so high. 1.2 crore people living in a island which is something like 35 kilometer long and maybe 4-5 kilometer wide. And now dolphins are coming close to it because human has retracted back to the homes because of the fear which nature has created. So nature is the master, nature is the creator, nature is also the destroyer, and maybe it is the nature's way of cleaning this planet. All over the world, you must be seeing a lot of drone videos of different cities. How do they look in lockdown? I saw it for the Jaipur also. It was very nostalgic to see how Jaipur looks under lockdown. Absolutely clean and hardly 1 or 2 vehicles all over the place. So this is nature's way of healing. So this is what we must learn, that we should never abuse nature, we should never disrespect nature, we should never try to destroy nature. So there is some background sound coming from Abhay. Yeah, Abhay, thank you for switching off your microphone. Vivek Sharma, can you also switch off your microphone, please? Can you mute your microphone, please? Vivek Sharma. Okay. So this is first learning, that our master, our honor is nature, and let us protect nature. Let us be with nature. Let us learn how nature wants us to live this life, whatever small life we have. But let us not go against nature. So this is the first lesson. Now, other lessons which one can learn from COVID-19, and learning only will make us good teachers. So it is important for us to first learn so that we can also teach our students. Second learning we have is, see, if you look at the statistics, due to COVID-19, most of the fatalities are in the age group above 60 and above. Young people, very young people, have practically no morbidity, no lethality. Lethality is very high as the person is aging. It is especially very high if the person is in the age group of 70 or 80 upwards. Very high morbidity. What does that mean? What do we learn from it? The person ages, his immunity goes down, his or her immunity goes down. So those who have high immunity are less likely to die from COVID-19. See, in Jaipur, there was a case I read in the newspaper. One, I think 90 or 92-year-old fellow, he recovered from COVID-19 because he had high immunity. So immunity in general decreases with age, but some people, due to their healthy lifestyle, can keep the immunity so good that even at very advanced age, their immunity is high. So basic factor is immunity. If your immunity is high, COVID-19 is not going to get you. So the important lesson that we learn from this disease is that we must keep our immunity high. And how do we keep our immunity high? You know that. Healthy lifestyle, good food, good water, good air, whatever we take inside must be good, healthy, pollution free, good exercise, but more important, good mental health, good spiritual health. You might be surprised that good mental and good spiritual health have a large bearing on the immunity. It has been medically proven and published. So those who have high immunity will survive this disease. You don't have to worry. If your immune system can fight this virus, basically it's a war. It's a war between the immunity and the virus. If your immunity can win and virus can be defeated, your immunity will go high against that virus. So it's a war. In this war, if you keep your immunity high through a good lifestyle, now it has become even more important. It was always important, but now since we are reeling from this horrible, horrible viral disease, immunity is very, very important. There may not be medicines, there may not be vaccine or therapeutics, but our immunity will help. There is absolutely no doubt, and the statistics have shown it. So this is the second lesson we learn from this disease. Let us keep our immunity high. What is the next lesson we learn? If you look at the statistics at the gender distribution, you will find that even though the number of affected people is almost 50-50 amongst men and women. If you see the gender distribution, okay, this disease, at the initial stage of infecting a person does not discriminate between genders. But if you look at the people dying, the lethality, it is much higher in men than in women all over the world. You can see statistics of any country. Average statistics is that out of 100, if there are 66 men dying, only 33 women are dying. So the number of men dying from this disease is nearly twice that of women. And this data now is not a very small data, because already the number of people who have died from this virus is pretty large. And this statistic shows that nature has selected in a way, people don't know what is the reason for that. Some people believe, some experts say that because men are more likely to smoke, to take alcohol, and because COVID-19 is a respiratory distress, and those who are smoking and taking alcohol are more likely to die earlier, and women are less smoking and taking alcohol less. Therefore, women are favored by nature as far as COVID-19 is concerned. This is very interesting. 66% men are dying, nearly 33% women are dying. So there is a marked, very clear, observable difference in the fatalities of men and women. What we should learn from this? I think, and also you might be knowing that average life expectancy of women in our country is little higher than that of men. So the message is very clear that we, the men, must change ourselves, stop smoking, stop consuming alcohol in an uncontrolled manner, be more like women. We should learn from women how to live. Lot of good physical work, less of smoking, less of alcohol. Our society may be discriminatory, but now nature is discriminating the other way around. And the message is very clear. Hey, humanity, if you discriminate against women, I discriminate against men. I will kill more men than women. I will allow women to live longer than you. I will allow women to live healthier and less suffering from you, men. I think there is a message, there is a learning that we must change our lifestyle. Okay, we must learn from our women counterparts in the society. How do they manage their stresses, their depressions, their mental problems without restoring to alcohol or without going for smoking? Of course, this is not 100%. 100% women are not smoking or not taking alcohol is not true. Okay, especially these days, even in India, in Western countries, it started some, I think 20-25 years ago. Now in India, a lot of women are taking to alcohol and smoking. This is horrible. I must say those women should also learn. Nature will not spare. See, if we make mistakes, if we live the way nature does not want us to live, nature will destroy us. Nature will retaliate. We have to understand we are creatures of nature. Nature has certain ways in which we should live. If we do not follow the path of nature, nature will finish us. This is the message, and it is getting very clear. Statistics very clearly shows. Another statistics which very clearly has come out of COVID-19 is that those who have comorbidities means those who have already lifestyle related problems such as diabetes, kidney problems, hypertension, heart problems, their probability of dying from COVID-19 is very high. In fact, 80% of the people, out of which 66 men to women ratio is 2:1. But out of all these people who are dying, 80% are those who have comorbidities. Comorbidities means other pathogenic disorders or diseases. As I told, hypertension, diabetes, heart problems, kidney problem, and these are all connected to lifestyle. So I think the message which is very clear from COVID-19, which we must learn, is first, we have to keep nature as our master. Nature is our mother. She created us and she has the authority to finish us. Nature is supreme. That is first. We must live a healthy life. We should have high immunity. We should not have diseases like lifestyle related diseases such as diabetes or heart problems, stresses, mental issues. These will enable COVID to kill us. So lifestyle is very important, and in our society we should not discriminate against men and women in any norm, be it workplace, be it the salary for the same job, be it the status, be it respect, or be it work at home. We should live equally, sharing all the problems, all the works, all the resources, all the gifts of nature equally. Otherwise, nature will discriminate. Nature will kill men more than women, and we are seeing it. So, having said this, the part one of my discussion is over. These are the learnings from the COVID. Now, let me just have a look at the time. It's 2:33, and we have something like maybe 20 minutes more. If you have a question, you can even put in the chat, which is a box below. Yeah, I can see a lot of chat messages, but they are mostly filled with good afternoon and Renu Joshi ma'am, please mute your mic, etc. I think you can put your questions also. So far, I do not see any comment or question in the chat section. So you can use this to put your question, okay, or your point, okay, although your microphones are mute so that the quality of sound is good for all of us, but you are not asked or you are not forced to express your views. You can express it through the chat section. Just below the screen, there is a chat button. If you click that, you can write a message and I can read it. Yeah. So right now I see one question. This is from Ruchi Dave. Dear sir, can there be infection in air? Yes, Ruchi, this is a very nice question. See, we always, professors always say it's a good question if he knows the answer. Maybe you know that COVID-19 virus, which we call as SARS-CoV-2 or neocoronavirus, this is almost like a sphere. You must have seen picture with a lot of spikes all around. So it has a diameter of about 300 nanometer, 0.3 micrometer. So it can actually become an aerosol in air. Okay. So Ruchi's question is, if it is in the air, then it's very, very difficult to, even if you are confined inside the house, because air moves everywhere. Okay. You can have a social distancing from a person who is infected, so that when he sneezes or when he talks, we always spray some droplets. And in that droplets, these viruses are there. Therefore, we should be, as our Prime Minister says, do gaj ki duri. Okay. If you are, 3 to 6 feet away, his droplets may not fall. But that is also actually now being refuted. Some scientists say that this droplet can actually, with the flow, because these are very small droplets. These droplets can travel as much as 26 feet with the flow of air, because air is not nothing. Air is something. Aeroplanes fly in air. Okay. And when air flows, it can make our, belongings to go away, or you have seen, Andhi. In Rajasthan, we have Andhi. Okay. How much force it has. But Ruchi's question is, can it be in the form of aerosols? Actually, COVID-19 virus, okay, SARS-CoV-2 can actually be in aerosols, and it can be in air. So what do we conclude from this? I would say that as a scientist, this is not a very confirmed or highly acclaimed or well proven as of now, because some people have also refuted it, but some people have proved it, that yes, it can be airborne. Now, in our interest, if we want to protect ourselves, let us assume the worst. And when I say let us assume the worst, means let us assume that it is in the air. And if you wear an N95 mask, then certainly you can protect it, even if you are in an air which is having this virus in the form of aerosols. So this is my question. This is
Dr. Kukreja,
yes.
Dr. Kukreja, I would like to interfere in this regard.
Please. May I know who is? May I know who is interfering? Who is sorry, not interfere. Sorry.
I'm Dr. Sharma, Principal School of Agriculture.
Please. Okay, Sharma sir.
Sir, I have
Please.
read an article that these type of aerosols, they are released by the patients, those who are infected, not by an infected man.
Not by an?
I read an article. These aerosols, they are released by patients, those who are infected.
That's right.
Not by healthy men.
Not by what? I didn't get, your voice cracked.
Not by uninfected persons.
Naturally. This is obvious. See,
and the
in this study,
danger is to the doctors and nurses. More danger is there in the hospitals to doctors and nurses.
Yeah. Absolutely. In fact, this paper also says that these aerosols have been observed in an area close to the hospitals. Okay. For example, at the lobbies of hospital, entrance of hospital. Okay. Now, let us understand the difference. See, your point is perfect. Uninfected person naturally cannot spread. That is obvious. Infected people only can produce aerosols through, for example, when they talk, or even through breathing. Aerosols can be present even in breath. Okay. But the study says that in aerosol form, this virus can survive in air for 2 to 3 hours. That means the infected person has gone. So the basic difference is that here the concept of social distancing does not apply. See, social distancing means if there is a person, then only you will have a distance. No, he left the virus in the form of aerosol and he's gone. So aerosol means in the absence of the patient, the virus can still be in the air, and one may breathe it. Okay, but of course, obviously, this will be produced through breathing, through talking, or through mechanisms which are called aerosolization, okay, by the people who are infected. Uninfected people are innocuous completely. Thank you very much, Sharmaji. So maybe we can take some next question, or maybe I have still something like about 15 minutes. And I also intend to talk to you about the second thought which I had, that we as faculty, we as teachers, okay, a very general term, of course, in the form of, professors and at the university, how do we adopt this learning at our workplace? But before I come to that, let me see if there are some questions which we can quickly attend to. And I have, yeah, so one question is from Saurabh Singh. When we will get the vaccine of COVID-19? This, I think you might be hearing in the news that people have started trials. Okay, Oxford University is the latest one. USA tried earlier, and people say it's all in the news that vaccine may take another 1 year or so. And another question is how long this virus, this is from Tahseen Khan, how long this virus can be in active state in air, fabric, steel, plastics, and so on. Yeah, so the list is very long. I really don't remember, but in air in the form of aerosol, as I read in this paper, it is 2 to 3 hours. And at steel, plastic, and these are different timings which you can anyway get on Google. If you Google it, you will get a list of different materials and the life for which this virus is virulent, or it is still active. That means it can affect. After that, it cannot. But in the aerosols that they found, they have actually told that it is the kind of genetic material which they have observed, and it remains for 2 to 3 hours. So there is another question from, let me scroll it. Gunjan Sharma. Good afternoon. Yes, Gunjan, good afternoon. Can one get coronavirus for a second time? I don't know. I am not a virologist. Normally, I think once, as a layman, I know that once you are infected and if you have developed immunity, then chances that the second time effect will be less. This is what I think. Another question is, can we only think about the nature's impact of humanity, or we should look for inter-country politics, which is going now between China and America? I think we leave these questions for politicians. I really don't know this. So I would like to take questions which are related to the talk today. Then there is a question from Harshit Sharma from Hotel Management. Is herd immunity system is beneficial in COVID-19 case? As I read that Sweden is using this as remedy for COVID. I also read it. I'm not a specialist in this field, but see, UK, for example, in the beginning, they thought that we should go for herd immunity. Herd immunity means don't have lockdown, let this virus infect people. And as the people get infected, they will also develop immunity. If R naught is less than 1, then virus stops spreading. And in that condition, the population which has already developed immunity is called herd immunity. UK tried that, but large number of people died in the process. If you don't do lockdown, of course, economy flourishes, but human beings die. So they have worst of both worlds. UK, in the beginning, they thought we will go for herd immunity, so they did not do lockdown. A lot of people died. So is happening in USA. They think, why lockdown? We should open it. Our economy is more important. So one has to have balance between life and livelihood. One has to see that how many people we can allow to be dead out of this pandemic, and how much money we should lose through paralysis of economy. So these are the two contradictory things, and we have to optimize it. So USA, UK, they thought that we will not go for lockdown. Let people die, and they will be anyway herd immunity, and the virus will stop. But you see, the deaths are so many because of the long incubation time and lethality of this virus. Lethality of this virus is much higher than the flu virus. So, these countries, even Sweden in the beginning, they thought we are very smart. So let us protect ourselves through, smart means like protective gear and social distancing, etc. But we will not lock down. So Sweden also thought that we will go for herd immunity. But the number of deaths are so large per unit population that finally they had to restore to lockdown. So they lost first the number of people, and now they are losing economy also. So they actually, so-called the leading nations of the world actually turned out to be the most stupid countries. Okay, in that sense, India has done very well, and India is being praised because we have first gone for lockdown so that deaths are less. Okay, and in that lockdown period, we prepare ourselves. Although we are having huge economic losses, okay, lakhs of crores of rupees are being lost through lockdown. Lot of immigration workers, they don't have salary to feed their families. Okay, people, philanthropic NGOs, they are feeding them, but somehow together we are surviving. Okay, number of deaths in India, considering the lethality and the RO factor of this virus, are fantastically low. Okay, if you see the per million population, it's very, very low compared to countries like USA, Europe, especially Italy, Spain, UK, or even Sweden now. So finally, they had to also go for lockdown. So herd immunity, is very, very, difficult to say. It's not beneficial in terms of lives. People die. It may be beneficial for economy. So what would you choose? You will choose money, or would you choose life? So I would think I will choose life. So I will say this is not a very good idea. Now let us go to maybe some more question. And there is a question from Rahul Sharma. How the virus behavior changes in different parts of the world like USA and Europe? I really don't know, but see, this is a flu virus, okay? And flu has a season. In India, typically flu is, in winter or during monsoon. In fact, now in Mumbai, people are worried that monsoon is about to come, and already the infected people are very large, especially in Mumbai, okay? And if now monsoon comes, imagine places like Dharavi, where 8 lakhs people are staying in a very small stretch of 2 kilometer by 1 kilometer. So this is certainly dependent on climatic conditions, and since climatic conditions are different in different parts of the world, so there are demographic differences. And it appears that earlier it was in the cold countries. If you see the latitude in the map, all the countries north of India were having, China, then Europe, then USA. Now the winter is going to go in the southern hemisphere. So countries like Australia or Africa or New Zealand, they have to prepare because now their flu weather is going to start. Then there are questions, many dogs are dying and red zones are increasing. Unfortunately, I don't know this answer, so I'm sorry for this. Then COVID is family of 7 viruses, other 6 viruses attacked in India. SARS had attacked, but again, I'm not a specialist on this. So SARS has definitely attacked India. I think it was in 2003. Okay, MERS has also perhaps, but I'm not very sure. But flu is very common. In fact, in India, large number of people die from the flu itself. Okay. So there is another question from Divya Sadanandan. It is said that now there are few cases where there is no symptoms for coronavirus. Is it possible? And what can be done if you don't understand a person is infected and still number of people dying due to it? Yeah, so I think this essentially brings me to the second point of my talk. And since the time left is now hardly 6 minutes, I would like to conclude. Of course, there are large number of questions, and maybe you can send it on email. I also have my email on my Gyan Vihar. So you can send your questions to lalitmohan.kukreja@mygyanvihar.com. That is your, it's well known to you. So it's our institutional. So I will close questions now, and stimulated by the last question, I will come to the last point, which I would like to say in next 5 minutes, because I have been told that right at 3, this screen will be shut. So we cannot extend it. So let us try to wind up maybe in next few minutes. So the final point. See, we are, as I told, nature is our first teacher, parents are our second, we are the third teachers, and our life is our fourth teacher. So we being one of those, we have huge responsibility on us. First, we have to take care of our own health, our own immunity, and also the health of our students. These days, one of the most important factor is to look after the mental health of students. Lot of students, they had been contacting through emails and all that, are getting bored or getting depressed, so it is our responsibility to stay in touch with students. And tomorrow I am also giving a talk to the students of our university, and I will discuss with them this problem. But I request all of us, all of you, that if we are, let us say, 200 in number, and if there are 4,000 students, let us take care of, let us say, 20-30 students, each one of us. Okay, so that all students feel that there is an umbrella guru, there is an umbrella teacher with them. And we have to make sure that their mental health. Don't spend a lot of time on seeing data or on mobile or on webs, seeing films or seeing literature which give us negative psychologies. Under this circumstance, I think if we take care of good spiritual health, now it is beyond science. I don't have time to discuss it in detail now. But if you sit down, if you, I have observed it myself, if you do good meditation, okay, it gives you good spiritual health. Good spiritual health is mother of good mental health, and good mental health is mother of good immunity, which means good physical health. So we have to teach our students the most important thing is good mental health. This is the time when we have to wake up. We have to leave things which are against our way of living, against the nature. Our way of living, our lifestyle should be such that we live the way nature wants us to live. And of course, we have to protect ourselves. Now, not only masks, but even face shield, because this virus can enter through mucosal tissue. So eyes, nose, mouth, they have to be well protected. And if this area is well protected, even if the virus is sitting on my hand, it doesn't matter. It will not affect me. If I wash my hands later on, it will be gone. So this area is now the most important part of our body. If you can take care of this area, you will take care of your entire body. So we have to teach our students, we have to keep them busy with healthy things, we have to give them good mental health, we have to mentor them, and we have to, most important, make them feel, if they are living in hostels away from their families, that we are their families, we are their parents. Okay, this feeling is most important, the feeling of love, affection, togetherness. Social distancing is physical, mentally we should be very close now. Okay, so the good formula for COVID-19 is social distancing and mental closeness. Okay, so with this formula I would like to say bye bye to all of you, and now since 1 minute is left, I hand over the microphone to Dr. Keswani ji. Where is he? I cannot see him.
Sir?
Here. Your sound is there, voice is there.
So
please.
During the session, you said that nature is the first teacher, nature is the master, nature is our mother, and nature created us. So it is our responsibility to take care of the nature and respect the nature, and also communicate this message to our students also. A great motivational and informative session delivered by our Honorable Professor Kukreja. Academic staff, college, and all academic family members of this university are very thankful to Professor Kukreja, as he accepted our request and delivered talk in this most significant topic in today.
Thank you
very
much.
We are thankful to all participants also. Now I am officially closing this meeting.
Yes, thank you.